Yo, what is up? How you guys doing? On this fine Monday evening. I say it's fine, it's been fucking windy where I'm at. Windy and miserable, but we are nearly through winter now. We are nearly through February. Spring is on the way, so there's that to look forward to. Interesting weekend of fights just gone. We shall say no more than that. And yeah, I enjoyed Subriel Matias against Jeremias Ponce. I was disappointed with how that fight ended, but the fight itself, while it lasted, was very good. Really, really entertaining. Both guys going for it, throwing a lot of punches, meeting each other center of the ring, trading. Great fight, man. And, Subriel Matias won the fight like I expected. Harder punches. I felt he was more battle tested. I felt he covers up better, rolls with punches better. And in that sort of fight, he's just suited to it. If you beat Matias, I think you've got to knock him out cold or stop him or just completely outbox him on that back foot. If you try to meet that guy center of the ring and go punch for punch, chances are you're going to end up getting beat, in my opinion. Not many fighters can beat Matias at 140. I'll say it now. Big up to Ralph. Salute, Ralph Unreal. How you doing? Yeah, ended too fast. Yeah. It was a really good fight while it lasted, though, right? I enjoyed it while it lasted. But Matias, I was looking at Matias's resume and just recalling some of his previous fights. This guy has made like 6 or 7 fighters retire in their corner. He's not a one-punch guy. He's not a one-punch guy, but he's heavy-handed enough, and he throws enough punches to where it adds up, and he just beats the will out of you, essentially. I like Subriel Matias. I kind of put him in the same boat as Beterbiev. No nonsense, stoic, aggressive, goes for the knockout every time. They are the sort of fighters I can get behind. They are the sort of fighters I like. If Matias is fighting, I'm always going to check this guy. I really enjoy this guy's style. What's up, Chad? How you doing? Big up, Chad. Honestly, I thought the Jake Paul fight was fucking crack. I thought it was terrible. Holding, mauling, hugging, no technique. We expected like novice skills, but at least have a tear up. I thought it was shit, honestly. Tommy Fury's an absolute bum. Tommy Fury makes Campbell Hatton look like a good prospect. Tommy Fury is fucking dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. I'm not sure about that. I would make Regis a favourite, and I would pick Regis, but I wouldn't want... Matias is one of those guys, man. I wouldn't rule this guy out against anyone at 140. I wouldn't rule this guy out against anyone. Because if you can't hurt this guy, you're going to be in a lot of fucking trouble. If you can't hurt Matias, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, in my opinion. Exactly, Yadiel. Matias is one of those guys as well. Even if someone like Prograis were to beat him, which again, I would pick Prograis, but Prograis would take a lot of punishment in that fight. He's one of those guys to where even if you beat him, you still may not be the same the next fight. You may not be the same. He's got that style. He makes guys retire in their corner, and he's done that to numerous fighters. Jesus Christ. Some guy went past with a fucking clapped out motorbike by sounds of it. Yeah, I made a video about Matias 2 or 3 years ago, man. I called him, what did I call him? The most violent man in boxing. Subriel Matias. I like the guy. And Puerto Rico need a good fighter who they can get behind. But again, this is the issue. This past weekend, we've had Matias fight. Nobody talked about it. people would rather talk about fucking Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. It's insane. I mean, look at these fucking channels like Fight Hype and all these channels behind the gloves. Wall-to-wall coverage on Tommy Fury, Jake Paul, nothing on Subriel Matias. That's a damn shame. Oh, Jake Paul and Tommy Fury bring eyes to the sport. They bring new eyes to the sport. Okay, cool. How many of these guys are going to check out Matias? None. Nada. Nonsense. Tommy Fury is awful. Genuinely, I went in on Campbell Hatton, but Campbell Hatton, as bad as he is, Campbell Hatton has more talent than Tommy Fury. And Campbell Hatton has got a little better. He still sucks, but he's got a little better. Tommy Fury's terrible, honestly. Yeah, facts. Manos Dinamita, sorry, I can't talk today. I'm so fucking tired. So, yeah, but I agree. Matias, man, you need to completely outbox him and be safety first, 12 rounds of a fight, or you need to hurt this guy. You need to hurt this guy. You need to get him out of there. He's one of those guys, man. And I'll go as far as saying I don't think I think Matias takes that boogeyman status at 140. Progray's had it for a while. I'm going to give it to Matias. Even though he's a world champion, I can't see any of these guys fighting him anytime soon. I can't see it. I thought he looked awful, Ralph, honestly. I thought he looked trash. Slapping, like no power, nervous, awful gas tank, bad balance. Jake Paul was just worse, but I give Jake Paul more credit because, this guy's only been boxing for 3 years? This guy was the YouTuber and Tommy was apparently the real boxer. Well, awful. I mean, that was the narrative going into this fight. And if that's the case, then it was a dreadful performance by Tommy. Absolutely dreadful. I felt he won, don't get me wrong, but awful. I was watching that fight and I was thinking to myself, what level is this? Is this area level? Are these guys area level? I don't think so. I don't think so. We got to Carlos Mendoza. Facts. Gotta love it. You gotta love it. Who the fuck is? Oh, I know who that guy is. I do know who that guy is. That guy's a weirdo, though. I don't disagree with him in regards to that, but that guy's a fucking strange kid. Trash fight, Dan. Absolutely trash. Both guys are awful. Yeah, dreadful in my opinion. I mean, I'll go as far as when it comes to these influencers, I think this shit's going to run its course soon. I really do. I think it's going to run its course. Tommy, after that, Tommy needs to forget about pro boxing. Just stick to the influencer circuit because this guy is just not good. He is absolute shite. Tommy Fury, he's absolute shite. You know that big fat cunt who's an influencer boxer? I forget his name. He's got like titties and he's knocking people out. That guy, he would knock out Tommy Fury. I don't know his name, but I've seen a couple of his highlights. He would knock out Tommy Fury. The guy with titties, that fat cunt. I'm not sure, Cash. You can drag Regis into a war. Josh Taylor did. Because if you looked at that fight, Cash, like Prograis was actually outboxing Taylor on the outside. It was when Taylor made it a bit of a scrap. That's when Taylor started to win rounds. And Taylor was able to do that. Why can't Matias? Maybe he can. And if he does, that's a hard fight for Regis. And I like Regis, as you guys know. Yeah, he's like fucking a black Margarito. Matias. Yo, what's up, LT? How you doing, bro? Yeah, I can't hate the grind. Don't get me wrong. If one of these fucking nerds offered me money to fight, I'll take it as well. I'm not knocking the grinds, but it just really highlights where boxing's at now. You know, it kind of highlights where boxing's at more than anything. These guys they're not really the problem. They are just the symptom of where boxing's at, you know. Hopefully, though, we get a good year. Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, looks like that's announced. Fingers crossed that's official and nobody gets arrested. Nobody goes through a mental health crisis. Hopefully that fight happens. By the way, I'm picking Ryan Garcia in that fight. I think he's going to knock out Tank. That's my initial feelings right now. I think he's going to knock out Tank. I think he might surprise people. Now, that's a fight I'm actually looking forward to. Yeah, against Matias, you've got to throw long, straight power shots from long range to have success. Yeah, you need serious power and stamina and have a great chin. I agree. That's the one, Mr. Ash. Yeah, Salt Pappy. He would knock out Tommy Fury. Kid you not, he would knock out Tommy. I'm assuming he's the same weight. He looks like a big fat cunt, so... That kid's actually got hands. He actually knows how to throw proper power punches. Not saying he's great or anything. I'm from Matias' hometown, and it was really dope to see. You'd see a lot of people outside with TVs to watch the fight. Hopefully, boxing in Puerto Rico picks up after this year. Yeah, I like his demeanor, man. I like his demeanor. Even when he won that fight, he wasn't like screaming and hollering that he won his first world title. He was like, "No, cool, that's it. Matter of fact, I won. That's it. I knew I was going to win." I like that mentality. Just cold with it. You know, after that Dadashev fight, he had a bit of a bad spell. From what I read, wasn't feeling himself for a while, but he's back in the swing of things now. He's back in the swing of things. Did you hear what he said about Prograis? I think it was Prograis. Like that he'll put him in hospital. Like, damn, bro. Considering what this guy did, this guy's a killer. This guy's a savage. Yeah, I see the comparison. Yeah, I see the comparison. Prime Khan or Prime Golovkin. I'd love to see it. Yeah, I mean, listen, I've never really had a big problem with the whole influencer boxing thing. Again, I just treat it as a symptom of where boxing is at. That's how I view influencer boxing. I think the best way to go about it is to do what I think it's Misfits, what they're doing. They're doing their own cards, but they're not pro fights. There's no pro fighters on these cards. I think that's the way to go about it. When you dilute the two, I don't think it's a particularly good look, to be honest. I don't think it's a good look. So yeah, if it's to continue, I would rather see these influencer fights be on their own cards, do their own thing, and just stop fucking combining it with real pro boxing. Yeah, that's a great fight, Gerson. And listen, I'm pretty convinced both guys would take it. As long as like promoters don't get in the way, that's a tremendous fight. Tremendous. Violent fight as well. It's a violent fight. I think Tank knocks out Ryan. It could very easily happen. It could very easily happen. Gerson's going Ryan. Yeah, I'm relieved that Fury Wilder 4 wasn't announced last night. Listen, man, I wouldn't be shocked if you see Tyson Fury versus Andy Ruiz. I wouldn't be shocked if that fight happens next, if Fury Usyk doesn't happen. Don't be shocked. Yeah, by the way, next weekend we have a tremendous fight that nobody's talking about, including myself. Brandon Figueroa versus Mark Magsayo. That's a tremendous fight because Figueroa he's an aggressive guy, volume puncher, likes to crowd the pocket and do his thing. Mark Magsayo's a puncher, but he throws one at a time. He's more of a counter guy and like an aggressive counter puncher. Those two styles are going to gel Figueroa, in my opinion, will outwork Magsayo, but I think Magsayo hits hard enough to maybe hurt Figueroa. So that's going to be a great fight. That's going to be a great fight. Exactly, yeah. Ryan needs to utilize his height and reach in that fight. Because Tank, when you look at Tank Davis' fight, he doesn't really close distance that quickly. His feet aren't that quick. Usually his knockouts come when guys come onto him. You know, you look at Rolly Romero, for example, or Leo Santa Cruz, you know, guys making basic mistakes, just walking in with no defense and Tank catches you. He's got good timing, he's quick like that, but if you make Tank close the distance, I'm not as convinced he'll be as effective when it comes to like punching on the front foot. So if I'm Ryan Garcia, I'd be working on that jab and trying to look for openings to where Tank lunges in and look for that counter quick left hook. Yeah, big up to Gerson. Yeah, Matias is a man that is very sure of himself. You can tell by the way he acted post-fight. Yeah, just matter of fact. I like that in fighters. That's why I like Beterbiev, for example. Yeah, I'd love to see Matias get a unification next, but I wouldn't complain if they gave him an Antoine Russell fight next. Would be another solid name for his resume, yeah. And Antoine Russell can fight. He's a good fighter. I would make Matias a favourite there, though. I would make Matias a favourite. When I look at 140, there's nobody in that division who I would comfortably pick to beat Matias. I don't think Matias beats everyone, but I just don't see anybody having an easy night with this guy. I don't see it. Great fight, bro. Again, that needs to happen, and it needs to happen soon. It needs to happen soon. Considering Beterbiev's what, 38? I'm not sure about Matias at welterweight though, because his defense against harder punchers may be his undoing, to be honest. I think 140, he should stick around at 140, I would say. I think Matias is a harder puncher than Beterbiev pound for pound. He doesn't even load up and throws arm punches, while Beterbiev has better technique. Yeah, I think Beterbiev has better technique as well. Although I don't know, I think Matias, he turns his shots over well. He just doesn't turn his body weight into shots. Like he turns his knuckles over when he punches. He just doesn't really turn his body weight into shots. Occasionally he'll load up with a left hook, but you're right. Yeah, they are very similar but different fighters. Yeah, boxing is more popular than ever, but also more compromised than ever. It's been exposed as a business masquerading as a sport to me. Yeah, facts. I agree. I agree. It's certainly as popular now as it's been in my lifetime, boxing. That's not going to happen, Albanian. That's not going to happen, Albanian boxer. No way. Yeah, I agree, Mr. Ash. I think you're right. I think you're right. Badu Jack should retire on a high note. Guy's a warrior and doesn't oversport anything. I agree. I can't see it getting any better here for Badu Jack. However, somebody mentioned in the comments, I think I might have missed the chat, Canelo versus Badu Jack at cruiserweight. Don't be surprised if that happens. I think Badu's going to be looking at one last payday to get out. And I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if Canelo targets Badu Jack. Don't be surprised. Honestly, both great fights. If I had to watch one, I'd probably watch John Jones. I genuinely think Fury is going to fight Wilder again. Both seem to be doing work with the Saudis, maybe for different fights though. Yeah, maybe. I hope so. I hope for different fights. It needs to happen, bro. Like it's a fucking mess. It's a fucking mess. Yeah, I had a video idea in mind, not kind of in regards to that, but mainly in regards to Deontay Wilder. Personally, that's what I was going to do, but I've just not had time. I could have done it today, but I'd rather streamed, to be honest. If he were to beat Matias, he would need to land one shot. He's not outboxing Matias. He doesn't have a volume, in my opinion. He doesn't have a volume to outbox Matias. He would need to knock out Matias, otherwise he doesn't win that fight, in my opinion. I'm just pleased. I'm pleased somebody who I hyped up a couple of years ago is doing well. I can't lie. Who poses the biggest threat to Inoue? Neri gives him a tough fight, but I think he'll get stopped. Yeah, I agree. I think Neri will give him a good fight, but yeah, more than likely get stopped. I think the same thing for Stephen Fulton. Maybe MJ Akhmadaliev in terms of power, but again, I think MJ will unravel against Inoue. But I think MJ probably hits the hardest out of, well, he hits harder than Fulton, and I'd say he hits harder one punch than Neri. In my opinion, the prince who signed that book with the other legends on it made me sad for boxing. I saw no soul in that boob. Okay. Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. It's new though. It's new, right? I mean, me personally, I'll be honest. Yeah, from my perspective, I'm kind of feeling this boxing in the Middle East thing, to be honest, because from a UK perspective, it means that these fights are on at a much better time. Like Bivol versus Ramirez, for example, that was on at a regular time, like 10 o'clock. And I'm all for it. I'm all for more fights happening in the Middle East. You know, I see it as well, Kev. I see it as well. I see Matchroom fans are out in force and have spent some hours, by the looks of things, trying to prove Ben is right to sue the board. Well, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. Yeah, he was good. He was good, Will. He was good. His superior technique showed through. Both guys were old, past their best, but Badu Jack's always been a guy who's had good fundamentals, good guard, good 1-2, decent counterpuncher, good punch technique, decent footwork, decent balance. Badu Jack's one of those guys who does everything well without really excelling in one area. He's just got good fundamentals. Whereas Makabu was a guy who primarily relied on power, strength, durability, and just toughness, right? He never really had those fundamentals. So you saw these two guys both old. Naturally, in that sort of fight, the guy with the better fundamentals is going to come through, and I think that's what we saw there. Makabu just doesn't have those fundamentals. Yeah, boxing is being more popular. Sorry, boxing being more popular is good, but it's brought a lot of soy boys into it. I agree. F1 is a sport I love, but with its increase in popularity, it's made the sport unbearable from an online end. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine, G-Man, and salute to you as well, brother. I saw your DM, by the way. I'll try and get back to you, bruv. I literally just saw it today. I literally just saw it today. I'll see what I can do, mate. I'll let you know. That's actually a good fight, Yadiel. I see that as a 50-50. I see it as a 50-50. I think Kovalev's a better boxer, but I think at this point in time, Badu Jack is more robust. He's more durable. I could see that. I could see that. I would say Froch close points. I see, yeah, Froch close on points. I thought he was bad, man. I can't lie. I thought he was bad, Will. I thought he was bad. I'm not going to lie. Colin went for dinner, smashed the bird at hers, went downstairs and watched Matias versus Ponce while she was sleeping and crawled back into her bed saying, I got a glass of water. Top man. Top man. No worries, Felipe. Yeah, I don't mind it. One thing that I do like about the Middle East boxing, there's certain shit they're not going to tolerate, which makes it. I don't know. I like it personally. I like it. I mean, bro. I mean, it's not. It's not like Vegas is squeaky clean, right? It's not like Vegas is squeaky clean. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, what is the biggest fight to be held in Saudi Arabia? Would you say AJ Usyk? And that fight was the right man won. The referee did a great job. I don't know, man. Oh, Phil Mitchell. Yeah, Phil Mitchell, bro. Do you mean Sky Nicholson? I mean, bro. If Eddie actually listen, man, if Eddie piped Sky Nicholson, I will give him a bit of credit. Can't lie. Yeah, his footwork was terrible. His balance was all off. His balance was all off. I think that is just a part of like the YTBC or the YouTube boxing community. It's been like that for several years now, to where many content creators will go in with a narrative, whether that is to fanboy for a certain promoter and shit on others, whether that be to go down more tribal routes and make their channels race related. You know, these people are just trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator rather than actually trying to actually shine a light on boxing and push for better, you know? I mean, look at all of the resistance people got for complaining about like the DAZN price increases. I mean, that was insane to me. Honestly, that was insane to me. That was insane to me. Boxing's a working class sport, and if you criticised DAZN's price increases, then what were the debunking myths? You're either poor, you weren't paying anyway, you weren't paying for DAZN anyway, even though I can prove I was. You know, bloody, but all this shit, man, it's insane. It's insane. And then these same guys, man, are like, bro, these guys are ponces, man. They're little fucking ponces, probably Tories. Do you know what I'm saying? Bums. Loma, that's another great fight. That needs to happen. Don't care where it happens. In fact, I'd like to see it happen in Saudi Arabia so I can see it at a good time. Yes, madness, true crime with G-Man. You see that in boxing now, though. You see that in boxing. If you complain about a stoppage, oh, he could have got killed. Well, listen, that's boxing, unfortunately. That is the worst case scenario. What I would say to those people who always moan about people complaining about stoppages, if you feel that strongly about fighter safety and somebody potentially getting hurt, maybe boxing isn't the sport for you. It's that simple. Very little of it, at least. Yeah, F1 is very safe these days. Even safer. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I noticed that as well, Jiho. Like, that's crazy. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. Phil Mitchell's got the weight. Phil Mitchell's got the weight. He'll wear him out in the clinch. Fair point, Del Boy. I was saying that the fight was fixed. Not just that Saudi is using essentially dirty money to pay for the fights to be there. Same with Vegas to an extent. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, bro. It's like it's probably no different to Vegas or anywhere else. You know. And again, you look at how Don King earned his initial fortune, for example. You look at how Don King earned his initial fortune, what he was involved in. Sorry, I mean, he killed 2 people, right? You look at Daniel Kinahan, who's been involved in boxing for what, 10 years? How many people has he been responsible for? How many deaths has he been responsible for, both directly in regards to gang hits, but also in regards to the product that he's selling, heroin. Do you know what I'm saying? Like boxing's a dirty sport. We know that. Boxing's very dirty. And yeah, we can criticize, Saudi for their practices, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's crazy, Colin. It's crazy. Yeah, I know, right? It just vanished. I got Brandon Figueroa to beat Magsayo. He's the more skilled fighter. He certainly throws a lot more punches as well. Magsayo's not always the busiest guy in the world, so he could easily get outworked there. But I think Magsayo hits hard enough to maybe hurt Figueroa, maybe. Isn't Gonzalez fighting what's dude's name? Kenshiro. Francisco. That fight signed. Hang on, is that fight signed? Jonathan Gonzalez against Kenshiro. That signed. That fight signed. 8th of April. Unification fight. WBO, WBC, and WBA. Really good fight that is. Jonathan Gonzalez versus Kenshiro. I think Kenshiro wins that fight personally. He was very impressive in his last fight. Who did he fight last? Kenshiro? Was it Kayaguchi? Let's have a look. Yeah, he knocked out Kayaguchi last fight. He really impressed me. I'll be honest, yeah, I've never really been that high on Kenshiro. His last fight, though, really impressed me. I've got Kenshiro beating Jonathan Gonzalez. As for Oscar Collazo, I'm not sure whether I've seen him before, bro. Let's have a look. Trying to work out whether I've seen this guy. Have I seen this guy fight? I haven't seen this guy fight. No, I haven't seen Oscar fight. I'll check him out, though. And thank you, bro. Thank you for the super chat. But yeah, Bomba Gonzalez is good. I think he's a solid champion. But based on their last 2 performances, because they fought on the same card, I remember watching it. I've got Kenshiro to beat Gonzalez, personally. It's a good fight, though. And thank you, brother. Thank you. Interesting, there's some talks of Beterbiev Bivol. I hope so, yeah. Maybe it was just Eddie trying to bluff Beterbiev. But sorry, maybe it was Eddie just trying to bluff, but Beterbiev called his bluff by saying Ramadan wouldn't be an issue. Yeah, please let it happen, facts. That'd be a great fight. And again, like I was saying earlier, that fight needs to happen ASAP because Beterbiev's only going to get worse from here. He's 38 years old, so needs to happen next. If we wait any longer, well, Beterbiev's going to just deteriorate and it's not going to be as good a fight. Yeah, it's a good fight, Jihad. It's a really good fight, that. Is there a title on the line? Is there any title on the line? Yeah, featherweight is looking good. Yeah, I know. But that's the thing, though, Kev, man. It's like people act like this. So it's very clicky. This whole YouTube thing, this whole YouTube boxing thing is very clicky. And yeah, it is what it is. I'm past all that shit. This channel really is just for me to talk nonsense and share my piece, kind of thing. I mean, I'm not really doing this for any other reason other than I like boxing. Boxing is my favorite sport. I unwind watching boxing. I love theorizing about potential matchups. I like looking at old fighters. I love boxing. It's still my biggest passion. But That's the only reason I do this channel, you know? That's the only reason. It would be better for me if I just fuck this off, quite frankly. It'd be a lot better for me just to concentrate on my other channel, which is obviously a lot bigger. Do you know what I'm saying? So that sounds like that's a great shout. F1 should create a new league called F0 and feature cars with all of the removed safety measures and re-added 6 wheels, closed canopies, nitrous, bigger, wider tracks. That'd be sick. Yeah, I do, Yadiel, because listen, Devin Haney's a good boxer. I think he's got a really good jab. He moves well. He's strong because he's so big for the weight. He's a good boxer, Devin Haney. But again, people think pound for pound is solely based on resume. It's not. Like, I think Devin Haney could beat Lomachenko. I don't really think it makes him necessarily pound for pound because you're fighting smaller men. You're fighting smaller men. That's not pound for pound. Usyk going up to heavyweight, giving up 25 pounds, 3 inches in height, God knows how much reach, and beating AJ twice, that is pound for pound. His skills were so great that it overcome a bigger, formidable opponent. In a really good heavyweight like AJ, his skills were that good. Despite the size difference, he beat AJ. That's pound for pound. When your skills can translate and you can beat bigger men. We've not seen that from Devin Haney. Truth be told, it's not just Devin Haney, though. Most of these guys in pound for pound lists are not pound for pound. Josh Taylor was another good example for me. Josh Taylor was bigger than the majority of his opponents. You know, and he relied on size. Josh Taylor was never pound for pound, in my opinion. As much as I like Beterbiev, would I call Beterbiev pound for pound? I don't know, probably not. Probably not. I wouldn't be shocked, bro. That's a thing, crazy D3. Yeah, that's a thing. Team stream, yeah. One thing I've noticed, though, Manos, is that I've been streaming a lot more recently because I've got no sports packages now. My DAZN expires on like the 18th of March, and I've been watching a lot of Premier League football on stream. And honestly, I think the streams have got better. I've not been lagging at all recently in these streams. So fuck paying for this shit when they're treating us like shit. Yeah, that's in where is that? That's in some random country as well, Levi. Yeah, he's fighting Mike Balogun, yeah. Yeah, the guy he's fighting isn't great, but he is better than the recent guys Gassiev's fought. But that's not saying much, quite frankly. Yeah, we're at a stage where title fights are becoming irrelevant. Give us 2 personalities with a narrative, and that's it. Why should we watch midgets fight? Yeah, well, that's how a lot of people think, in my opinion. No, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Yeah, F1 brought in the same dumb stuff, and fans say without the halo, he'd be dead. Show them a massive crash, even worse from the 90s, and yeah, that drive. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. I think that's just the way of the world, though. In every profession, even in that, like whatever jobs you're in, like the health and safety aspect has gone too far, to the point to where you look. I've worked on building sites, for example, and some of the health and safety regulations make your job harder, or they make it longer. You know, sometimes cutting corners. That's just life. But yeah, health and safety measures have gone too far. In general in life. Yeah, that's not happening. I don't think. Wilder and Ngannou's happening. I saw that on Boxrec. Yeah, he's fighting. He's defending the European title. Yeah. Oh, embarrassing, Levi. I saw the last highlight of it. when he got stopped. Embarrassing. Yeah. If I was like, if I had control of that situation, what I would do, I would have Lara fight Bernardo Lopez in a unification. Lopez has the IBF and Lara has the WBA. All Mexican battle, going to be a great fight. Get those two to fight at a similar time. Have Warrington versus Wood, and then the winners fight each other. That's what I would do personally. That's what I would do. Haney is lucky, in my opinion. He's coming to 135 at the perfect time. Yeah, I mean, he's good. I think Haney's good. But I think some of his fans go overboard. Like pound for pound is not just based on resume. So for example, let's say Sebastian Fundora. He is the most like extreme example. Let's say Sebastian Fundora fights Jamel Charlo next, knocks him out, becomes undisputed. Then he beats other top contenders like Tim Zhu, all these other guys, right? Let's say he beats all of these guys at 154, has like a 6 or 7 title defense reign with undisputed. Does that make Sebastian Fundora pound for pound when he's beating up on much, much, much smaller people? It doesn't. Regardless of how good his resume is at 154, that's not pound for pound. People don't understand what pound for pound means. Do you know what I'm saying? Haney's good, but if we're going to talk about Haney in a pound for pound sense, we're going to be talking when he's at 140, 147, in my opinion. I'd say 140. Yeah, Usyk is Usyk. Bad thing for Usyk as well. And I see what Tyson Fury's team are doing here. Usyk doesn't really have any other options, whereas Tyson Fury can fight someone else. Like he could fight an Andy Ruiz and it would do decent numbers. Who's Usyk gonna fight if this fight doesn't happen next? Team Fury, they kind of have Usyk over a barrel. William Zepeda would be a great fight for Devin Haney. I like William Zepeda. Again, I mentioned him as one to watch like 18 months ago. He's a good fighter, William Zepeda. He's a good fighter. Oh shit! Did you email me, Colin, or did you DM me? Because I've not seen anything. I know you said about that before. Yeah, Serbia. It's in Serbia, I think. Yeah, if Uzbek beats him, Levi. I done a bit of research on that Uzbek. I think he stops Thomas Patrick Ward. Yeah, that's why I don't believe in pound for pound lists. I think a best fighter list is based on resume, skills, and the eye test is way better. Yeah, yeah, resume is important to a certain degree because it tells you something, but it doesn't tell you everything. That's a good question. Any good fights in the UK to look forward to? Doesn't seem to be many at the moment. Lewis Ritson versus O'Hara Davis is going down this weekend. That's actually a good fight at domestic level. That should be fun. Aside from that, I'm looking forward to Joe Cordina versus Rakamov for the IBF title. That'll be a good fight. I think that's in Wales. There's a couple of good fights coming up. Yeah, I get you, Colin. I get you. Oh, now. That'll tell us a lot about Devin Haney because I don't think Devin Haney will be able to hold Matias like that. That clinch game ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. Yeah, he beat up. He beat up Diego Sanchez as well. I'll check it out, Colin. I rarely check my Twitter. I rarely check it. I'm really bad. Honestly, I'm really bad for like checking DMs and shit. I'm really bad. I think, listen, I think Tony Harrison's a live dog in that fight. I think he's a live dog. I've always rated Tony Harrison very highly. I think he's got a fucking beautiful jab. Boxes really well on that back foot. He can counter well. He's got decent pop. He's a really smooth boxer, Tony Harrison. The only thing with Tony Harrison is in a 12-round fight scenario, he gasses very often. You know, as the fight plays out, sometimes he starts to make the wrong decisions and his chin isn't the greatest either. But in terms of technical skills, Tony Harrison has a lot of ability. Would I be shocked if he beat Tim Tszyu? Not really. Not really. I'll be honest. Yeah, big up to yourself, Colin. I'll take a look at it soon. I'll take a look at it. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, Albanian boxer. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's this weekend. I'm not sure what channel that's on. I'm not sure what channel that's on, but it's a great fight. It's a great fight. I've never seen Marshall before, Travon Marshall. Never seen him. I know who Justin Deloach is. I've seen him a couple of times. Canadian, I believe, right? Or is he based in Canada? Maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, that was ordered by the WBO. I hope that fight happens rather than like a Eubank rematch. I'd like to see Liam Smith versus Janabek. Janabek needs credible opponents, and I think Liam Smith is credible right now. Yeah, I see that, Stefan. Yeah, I mean, Matias is no nonsense character. That guy is a fucking savage. And he means it as well. That guy means it, you know. That guy means it. Him versus Prograis would be a great fight. I'd argue to say it's the best fight at 140 in terms of like pure entertainment at the top level. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. It'll be interesting if Josh Taylor could healthily make the weight for a couple of more years. He's got some good fights out there still. Prograis rematch, Matias, obviously Teofimo. Oh yeah, Gausha. Or Gaucher, however you say it. Oh yeah, no doubt. Marku's a bad boy. He's a bad boy. I wouldn't be shocked if he's got Mafia backing. Yeah, I think Jarrett Hurd is completely washed. Completely washed. His prime was very short. Very short. He relied purely on his size. And he could take punches, but he just took so many, man, that they deteriorated him. As well as those massive weight cuts as well. Yeah, he's done. He's done. He's done. Yeah, I heard. I heard Catterall was fighting in March on the Akoli bill. He's going to get back out. That's what I've heard. But I kind of feel for him. I mean, I kind of feel for him. But listen, he needs to be targeting Subriel Matias, Regis Prograis, Alberto was it Puello? They're the sort of guys he needs to be looking at. He's got to move on. Yeah, I think the IBF is going to be contested between, I want to say Michael Zarafa and Falcao, the Brazilian guy. I think Falcao wins that. What's up, TJ? How you doing? What's up, Stephen? How you doing, man? Yeah, Tony Harrison is good. He's very good, but yeah, like you said, he's just fragile. He's just fragile. He's a really good boxer. Yeah, exactly. Heard between 2017 and 2018. Yeah, in that 1 year, all he did was take shots and cut weight. Yeah, basically. But he was exciting. He was exciting while he lasted. But you know, his style was never going to be. It was never going to lend itself for a long career. It's rare. It's rare. It's rare fighters like that have a long career. There's been a few, like Margarito. He had quite a long career. There's been a few. Froch lasted quite a long while, considering. Ferguson, I would say. Yeah, we were saying this earlier. That's a great stylistic matchup. I felt Figueroa beat Stephen Fulton. I felt he outworked him. Hurt him, what? I think he hurt him 3 times as well. Hurt him to the body, hurt him to the head, outworked him. I felt he beat Fulton personally. But stylistically, that's a really good fight. Because, as I was saying earlier, Figueroa he's pure aggression. He's got a very high punch output. He'll close the distance, collapse that pocket, and work. He'll try and stay in your chest and make it uncomfortable. Magsayo is aggressive, but he's more calculated. He like I was saying, he's kind of like an aggressive counterpuncher almost. He's got the harder one punch, but Figueroa has the volume. I tend to believe Figueroa will outwork him, but I think Magsayo hits hard enough to change that fight. I'm going with Figueroa though, probably on points. Fair play to Tony. Tony's funny as fuck as well. That Jamel Charlo press conference was hilarious. Yeah, I agree, Stefan. I think Figueroa brings more to the table, mainly in regards to volume. Listen, Tony Harrison has a very real chance against beating Tim Tszyu. I'd make Tim Tszyu a favourite, based on, it's in Australia. Tim Tszyu is the house fighter, the up-and-comer. Plus, Tim Tszyu is actually quite good. He is actually quite good. Decent power as well. So I'd make Tim a favourite, but I think he'll have a hard fight. I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised they chose. I'm very surprised they chose Tony Harrison as an opponent. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, people were putting Hurd on pound for pound lists. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. John Jones' return. Say what you want about John Jones, but to me, John Jones is. I think prime John Jones was the best MMA fighter I've seen, along with Khabib, I would say. But yeah, prime Jones was sick, regardless of like PEDs and shit. I don't care about that nonsense, but. Yeah, Figueroa just has that swarming style, and yeah, I felt Fulton engaged in Figueroa's fight more than Figueroa engaged in Fulton's fight. Fulton still had success. Don't get me wrong; he still fought a pretty good fight. I just felt he outworked Fulton. Bivol Beterbiev is apparently in serious talks, considering both seem like stand-up guys. It may happen next. I hope so, man. I was saying this earlier, Stephen. It needs to happen ASAP because the longer we wait, the worse that fight gets because of Beterbiev's age, 38 years old. If we're going to get the fight anywhere near its best, it's going to be now. In fact, Beterbiev's already sliding, I would say. So it needs to happen next. Needs to happen next. Ergashev is one of those. He's one of those unknown guys who is dangerous. He's a hard puncher. Ergashev seems like a robust guy. That's a great fight. It's a hell of a fight. That's going to be another war. Purely and simply, that's another war. I'll take Matias. He's more battle tested, better volume as well. Ergashev's not quite as. I don't think he can match Matias punch for punch. But he's a hard puncher. So he's got a shot. but I'd make Matias a favourite, but that'll be a great fight. That's how I saw it as well, Yadiel. He was drawn into a war, yeah. That's how I saw it. Then I heard, oh, well, Fulton landed the more eye-catching shots, the better shots. Well, I mean, if that's the case, well, I never saw I never saw Figueroa get hurt by these quality punches. I saw Fulton get hurt more than once. I just see, again, I think with boxing, many people have like a bias towards the slick fighter or the guy who looks flashy more so than the guy actually putting in work. Yeah, Figueroa's work doesn't look as pretty, don't get me wrong, but he outlanded Fulton. And he hurt Fulton on more than one occasion. I'm not saying it was like a robbery, like a big robbery, but I just felt Figueroa won. Personally. Yeah, we got a trophy, man. It's looking up. It's looking like it's on the up. Ten Hag's done a tremendous job. Every big decision he's made, he's got right. From dropping Maguire to getting rid of Ronaldo, even dropping Rashford that one time for like missing the pre-game meeting. He was late. And he dropped Rashford, the guy who was in crazy form. Everything that guy has, all the big decisions he's got right. Sending out Sancho to get his head right. Yeah, Ten Hag's done a great job. Ten Hag's done a great job. And I hope we get taken over by better owners. I don't care about getting taken over by a sugar daddy. Personally, all I want is for the debt, which is not really our debt. It was debt leveraged against the club when the Glazers bought us. Get rid of the debt, either renovate the stadium or build a new stadium, renovate the training facilities. That's it. If we get all that shit sorted with no debt, we can compete anyway. We make enough money, we make enough revenue to spend silly money. We've done that anyway under the Glazers, even though they've taken over $1 billion out of the club. We've still spent our own money, spending similar amounts to Man City. We've just spent it badly. Spending money on transfers has never been the issue at United. It's more other things like getting the best in class in positions of power on board level, at scouting networks, etc. This is what United haven't done. The club is run by non-footballing people, and yeah, the infrastructure's been left to rot. For me, it's never been about transfers in terms of spending. We've always spent. That's not the issue. It's for debt. It's for dividends. It's for money taken out. It's the fact that the club has been left to ruin in regards to its stadium and its training ground. And yeah, that's my issue with the Glazers. And also the appointments of people at board level. It makes me laugh when people say, oh, the Glazers have backed their managers. They've gave them money. No, it's our money. It's our money. But yeah. I've not seen him. Is it Thomas Foray? Whatever his name is. I've not seen him fight. I'd imagine Dan Aziz wins. I'd imagine. I've seen his box rec. Doesn't look any great shakes, but you can never tell, right? I'm assuming that. And yeah, Yoka should beat Takam, yeah. Yoka should, yeah, he should beat Takam. But who knows, man? Yoka looked fucking dreadful against Bakole. He looked fucking awful. I've got Inoue late, personally. Israel Vasquez was a fucking killer, man. That guy had fucking balls. His fights with Marquez were crazy. Although they did one fight too many. I mean, that guy was a warrior. He's lost one eye now as well because of those Marquez fights. He's only got one eye. You know, it's crazy. And nobody talks about him. It's insane. But yeah, Israel Vasquez was a great fighter. And I think he does well today at 122. I feel like Jones is getting destroyed. Don't feel good about the layoff and the weight unless he manages to wrestle. Yeah, that's one thing about Cyril Gane. Like, Francis Ngannou out-wrestled him, which isn't a good sign. I'd imagine that's what John Jones will try to do. He'll try and take down Cyril Gane. But yeah, I mean, with that layoff, you never know. Who was the best? The best over 40, not named Bernard Hopkins or George Foreman. Best over 40. Archie Moore, I would say. He fought in his 40s, I believe. Yeah, that's another thing with Ergashev. I think isn't he with Salita? I think he may be with Salita, maybe, or like Lou DeBella. But yeah, you're right, inactivity. That's it's funny you mentioned Jinkombayev. I think Matias versus Ergashev goes down similar. I think it goes down similar. I'd probably take Ergashev over Jinkombayev. Yeah, Hearn actually said Beterbiev may need more time to recover for B-roll. Then in the next sentence, he said Beterbiev should fight Smith on the B-roll Canelo undercard. Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. No, I don't know anything about the Japanese guy that Shakur is fighting other than he knocked out Nakatani. And I have seen that, but I've not really seen any more than that. And Nakatani was shot by that point. As for Jared Anderson's opponent, George Arias, a few years ago, there was a bit of buzz about George Arias because of his looks. Like, he looked like Ali. And he had some snazzy highlights, bob and weave style. But the more he's fought, the more I realize, yeah, that guy's pure hype. Anderson will take care of Arias comfortably, 3 or 4 rounds, I would say. Junkumbayev beats Ritson, yeah. Junkumbayev beats Ritson. Exactly, Xavier, I agree. I totally agree. I think it will be similar to the Junkumbayev fight. I agree. Yeah, I think Shakur's opponent is better, to be honest. I don't really rate George Arias like that personally. He's one of those guys, man. He looks good in certain highlights, but when you see him in a full fight, man, I don't think he's great at all. Yeah, that is true. That is true, Cash. He did have a long layoff. Yeah, that is true. Good fight. I like Christian Mbili. I think he's an interesting up and comer at 168. I think he'll beat Carlos Gongora. Gongora is a good boxer, good straight puncher, does the basics well. I think Christian Mbili will overwhelm him though. Mbili's a decent up and comer. Mbili's decent. Roman Fury. Fucking hell, there's so many of them, bro. Yeah, build a new stadium 100%. Not sure where it could be built, but Man U could have the best stadium on the planet if the new owners were ambitious enough. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I feel a lot of United fans. I personally, again, I'm not bothered about being Qatar. Honestly, Qatar, from what's been said, are the best suitors for United. Just going by what they said, what their plans were. I don't want Jim Radcliffe because he's just a British glazer, as far as I'm concerned. Linked with JP Morgan and whatnot, Super League. I don't want Jim Ratcliffe personally. Again, all I really want is for the debt to be fucking wiped. That's the main thing. And get footballing people on the board. That's the second thing. Renovate the stadium or build a new one and renovate the training ground. That's what I want. Do we need to spend any more money than we are currently? No, we need to spend it better. Aside from this last window, we have spent money terribly in the last decade. That's a great fight. Belanga versus Munguia, great fight. I could see it happening as well. Awful fight, yeah, awful, dreadful. Not even going to talk about it. Dreadful fight. I like Diego Pacheco. I think he's good. Yeah, I think he'll smash Jack Cullen. I do. Yeah, he's developing really well, Diego. In fact, when you look at all of these young American guys Matchroom signed, I think Diego might be the best. He's talented, good fighter. That's another great point. Even if you felt Islam won, I think 2 rounds to 3 either way. But even if you think Islam won, that doesn't mean he's better pound for pound than Volkanovski. Because it was a mad close fight, could have gone either way, but Islam is just bigger. He's much bigger. Yeah, basically, yeah. Basically. Campbell Hatton's fighting a 4-2 Italian next Saturday. Laughable. I'll tell you what, though, bro. Tommy Fury makes Campbell Hatton look like a promising prospect. He makes Campbell look like a promising fucking prospect. Oh, and Inoue stops Fulton in 4. That's a ballsy pick, Chet. That's a ballsy pick. I think he'll stop Fulton. Not that early though. I don't think he'll do it that early. I think he'll need some rounds. I think it will be late. Sort of rounds 10, 11, 12. That's a ballsy pick, bro. I rate it. I rate it. 1 second. Let me just quickly put the kettle on. But yeah, I think Fulton, I think he'll survive quite a few rounds in that fight. What card is Campbell actually fighting on, by the way? Campbell Hatton. Campbell Hatton. Have a look. Oh, he's on that Liverpool card, isn't he? That's a bad card. Awful card. Like, honestly, this is a dog shit card. Callum Smith versus Pavel Stepien. Robbie Davies Jr. versus Dara Foley. Diego Pacheco versus Jack Cullen. I like Pacheco. Mickey Ellison versus Thomas Whitaker Hart. Bum fight. Rhiann Dixon, not interested. Johnny Fisher versus Alfonso Damiani. What's Alfonso saying? What's his record? 6-2, 37 years old, Italian. By the way, I'm getting sick and tired of Johnny Fisher. I'll say it right now. It goes to show like what the British boxing fan base is about. You know, the fact that a guy like Johnny Fisher can get traction is insane. He seems like a nice kid, don't get me wrong, man, but bro, is this what we come into? Is this what we're coming to? Johnny Fisher, fucking hell. My top 5 active fighters in no particular order. Beterbiev, Inoue, Loma, Virgil Ortiz, and Shakur. All great fighters. Yeah, Virgil's fighting soon, actually. He's fighting, what's his name? He's fighting Stanionis, right? Has that been rescheduled? Because I know Stanionis pulled out. Yeah, that's back on. That is back on for April 29th. That's a really good fight, by the way. That's another one to add to the calendar. And that is for the WBA regular title, right? Is that the regular? That's the regular title. It's a good fight, though. Yeah, so like fuel, gas has fuel or petrol. Yeah, it's gone down. It's about where I'm at. It's £1.45 per litre. A few months ago, it was like 190 something per litre, up to like 195. It was nearly £2 per litre in the UK at one point, petrol. and diesel's even higher. Diesel's always higher, but $1.90 a litre in Vancouver. Yeah, it's where I'm at right now. It's £1.45 per litre. £1.45. But like I was saying, like when it was at its highest, it was like $1.95 where I'm at. $1.95 per litre, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. But you know, the older energy bills still aren't coming down. Again, that's a fucking scandal. That's an absolute scandal. I wish I lived. Listen, man. I wish I grow old enough to live in a time to where politicians are really held to account, to the point to where they should be punished for egregious errors. I wish I could live in that time. Some of these people, how they listen, man. I can't get into politics. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it. It'd be dangerous. It'll be dangerous. But yeah, it's still expensive out here. Like everywhere, inflation through the roof. Even on like basic goods, you know, petrol's not as bad, obviously, but like gas, electric, that's still crazy high. And yeah, just your household goods are just silly money at the minute. Silly money. Everything's gone up. Literally everything in the supermarkets has gone up. No. But again, like that's another fucking load of it's nonsense, man. A lot of people are profiteering. Like for green and to be carbon efficient and to be green, we got rid of all of our like natural gas reserves. Therefore, we rely on other countries a lot more than we did. We've always relied on other countries, but like, why would you stop your own reserves? Why would you get rid of your own reserves just to import gas from another country? It's fucking stupid. Like these green levies and things of that nature are just like anybody who's a fucking climate activist. I see as an enemy to the working class, man, because climate activism and climate mandates they're going to affect the working class the most. And again, you look at these people, these tree hugging fucking, I nearly said the F word, these tree hugging clowns. Look at them, all working class, daddy and money and mummy's money, trust fund babies, blue head fucking freaks. A lot of them, scum, absolute scum. They say, oh, we're looking out for those less fortunate. We care about the working class. They despise the working class, by the way. These types, they despise us. Scum. But yeah, I mean, that's a country all over, though. Like, I'll give you another example of how stupid these fucking climate levies are, these climate mandates, and these climate fucking regulations are, and all of these initiatives to tackle climate change. I'll tell you how stupid they are. This is the most stupid example I can think of. So in the UK, we had like big aluminium smelters, like smelting plants where we would smelt aluminium and produce a lot of aluminium. We closed those plants to reduce our carbon emission. Only then, for those companies then got outshipped to India. So the aluminium is still being smelted, therefore still producing the same CO2 just in India. And then we're importing it to the UK. So the actual production and importation has produced more fucking carbon. But we're getting it out of this country so our CO2 fucking shit looks better. It's madness. It's madness. Figueroa, Dustin. Figueroa on points. But Magseo has a chance. So yeah, make sense of it. So they closed down our aluminium plants only to relocate them to India. And then we're then importing that aluminium back into the UK. So the actual CO2 emissions is actually larger. But on paper, it looks like we are producing less because those aluminium plants are no longer in the UK. That's how dumb this is. That's how dumb it is. Just fucking destroying people's jobs. That's how dumb it is. Facts, lamb chop. Facts. That's the next thing. That's the next thing. I mean, have you heard these that smart city idea? So I think it's in Oxford. They're implementing a smart city idea. They're like running an experiment where if you travel outside of a certain zone, you have to seek permission. You have to seek permission. It's if you travel outside of a certain zone in your car, you have to seek permission. Otherwise, if you don't, you can get fined. They're actually trialing that in Oxford. And many people came out protesting it, saying it's fascist, it's dictatorial, which it is. And you see these fucking little soy boy Ponces. Oh, they were complaining about the protesters. Insane. Insane. Again, a couple of years ago, when we said at the start of COVID, the next thing to happen would be climate lockdowns, things of that nature, conspiracy theorists, crazy. Well, that's the way it's going. It appears to be that way anyway. It appears to be that way. And I'm far more concerned about potential climate actions more so than I was COVID. Like I didn't pay a blind bit of attention to the COVID mandates. Didn't pay a blind bit of attention. I went out when I wanted to go out. I never wore a mask. Saw my friends as I usually would. I didn't pay a blind bit of attention. But the whole climate thing is a lot more scary. I think it's in Oxford. I'm sure they're trialing it in Oxford. Yeah, in Canada, we make up less than 1/10 of 1% of the world's emissions, but we have high carbon taxes and a big push to electric cars. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Oxford and Bristol, that's it, lamb chop. Yeah, Oxford and Bristol. 15-minute cities is what they're called. So basically, yeah, it's essentially if you travel outside of, so you got a 15-minute zone, and if you travel outside of that, I'm presuming with your car, you have to seek permission or you get fined. And the fact that some people were okay with that, just honestly, that's what concerned me the most. There was a lot of people protesting it, God bless them. But the fact that some people were turning around and calling the protesters fascist and far right, it's insane. I feel like we're heading for a turning point, though. I feel something bad is going to happen. Maybe not bad, but I think eventually we're going to hit a crossroads, particularly here in Europe. I feel that Europe is a lot further down the line than America, to a certain degree. In some ways, I feel America is like. I just feel the plans for Europe are more insidious. I can't explain what I mean, but I just feel, I don't know. I feel we're heading back down a bad path in Europe, and I think things will start to get ugly. One thing, this is my prediction for Europe, whether it's for UK, France, Germany, Italy, maybe. I think you'll see the rise of like populist individuals who are, you know, this whole meme of like, oh, far right, far right, far right. I think you might see true far right political personalities starting to come through in Europe in the next 10, 15 years. Not the meme far right, you know, if you deny there's two genders, you're far right. No, real far right. And then people will start to fucking panic because a lot of people are fucking fed up. A lot of people are fed up and they will garner a lot of votes. That will set the cat amongst the pigeons. I think you'll start to see that soon. UK is a good example. You look at the rise of UKIP, which really pushed for UK independence and Brexit. The UKIP phenomenon really occurred during benign economical times. It was like 07 to 2012, really. UKIP was basically late noughties to 2016. That's when UKIP were really popping off. And they popped off in benign economic times. When things are tough, when things are rough, that void can be filled with, well, some actual genuine authoritarian individuals on the other side. And quite frankly, from my perspective is I just want to be left alone. I'd rather ignore the political left-right paradigm because, they're all really full of shit at the end of the day, but I just want to be left alone. Tax me as little as you can. Leave me the fuck alone. I want as little government interference in my life as possible. That's all I want. That's all I want. The crazy thing is you now have people that consider themselves anti-fascist going against people that campaign against government policies. Yeah, they are. You would think at one point in time they would have the self-awareness to think, well, big pharma are on my side, big tech are on my side, mainstream media are on my side, big government primarily are on my side. The education system is on my side. Maybe I'm not this freedom fighter I'm pretending to be. Maybe I'm on the wrong side of history. You'd think that would occur to them at some point in time, right? Obviously not. Big up to Chet Collins, man. Thank you. Did you hear Floyd's exhibition drew only 4K and most tickets were given away? What a joke. All of these exhibitions are. I agree. I think they're running their course, Chet Collins. I think they're running their course, personally. And yeah, I saw the pictures on Twitter. There was barely anyone there. It was empty as fuck. And that was empty as fuck. I'm kind of bored of them as well now. I think exhibitions have just they've been rinsed. I think once in a blue moon, maybe an exhibition could work. But we're getting one every other fucking month now. Do you know what I mean? What's up, Lee? How you doing, bro? And thank you, Chet. Big up to yourself. Jose Aldo has a chance of beating Floyd in fucking MMA. He does. He'll fucking smash Floyd. Not in boxing, bro. Even now. Yeah, I mean, I think exhibitions can be done right. I think they can be done right, but again, it's something that maybe should happen once a year, like a decent exhibition once a year. Like there was talks once of Cotto versus Marquez, Miguel Cotto versus Marquez exhibition. Something like that, once a year, fine. One exhibition I actually felt was done quite well was Barrera versus Hatton. That was done well. It was placed on a real boxing card, and it was good. It was good fun for what it was. Neither guy was taking it all that serious. They was going through their moves and whatnot. It was good. Tyson Jones was actually pretty good as well. That's another one that was pretty decent. Yeah, Tyson Roy Jones was done well. I think exhibitions, I think they can work, but like anything, it's just been rinsed. Another exhibition I would like would be Vitali versus Lennox Lewis. I'd watch that. Yeah, I agree, Mike. That's the problem. They're being rinsed. They're being rinsed. Again, once in a while, I've got no problem with an exhibition personally. Um, but yeah, not every fucking month. That would do good numbers. Yeah, that would do good numbers. I love how everyone in my college class suddenly turned into a boxing expert after Paul versus Fury. Yeah, I can imagine. But for many people, Lee, that's going to be their first exposure to boxing. How many of these people actually remain boxing fans? Not many, very few. They may tune into they may tune into like other celebrity fights, but they're not going to tune into like boxing, in my opinion. Very few, at least. Very few. You may get one or two people who say, "Oh, this is actually really interesting. Let me check out real fights." That only a few though. Only a few. But honestly, the whole Jake Paul Tommy Fury fiasco was a dull fight in my opinion. I thought it was shit. Too much holding, too much clinching. It was crap in my opinion. I understand they're novices, but like still try and give us a good fight. But again, I can't blame those guys. But they're just getting their money. I'm sure we would do similar. If we could fight another novice and get paid silly money, I'm sure we would do it, right? I would do it. I don't blame the actual like the likes of Jake Paul. I mean, it's just where boxing's at. Yeah, exactly, Lee. Exactly. Like, how many of those guys do you think are going to tune into Better BF's next fight or B-Bowl's next fight? None of them. Fucking hell, sorry about that. My bad. Hashim Rahman Jr. would have sparked Jake Paul? Probably. Mind you, I think that would have been a fake fight, I'll be honest. Like Tommy Fury doesn't have as much incentive to take a dive, whereas Hashim Rahman does. Because he's a nobody at the end of the day, let's be honest. The nerve of BT putting that on pay-per-view. If you paid for it, you deserve to be finessed. Yeah, I found a stream. Crack streams for the win, by the way. And also, by the way, guys, I'm going to think about doing, not today, obviously, but in the future, near future, on these live streams, we may start doing live panels for a bit of a laugh. Vector04, Floyd is going to keep on doing it. He seems to be getting, it seems he's doing too well with his money at the moment, hence why he's doing so many exhibitions. And also the fact that he isn't paying for people who he is fighting. Yeah. What was his name? Logan Paul said that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Tommy Fury's awful. Like, again, he genuinely makes Campbell Hatton. Let's say you watch Tommy Fury fight, then you watch Campbell Hatton fight directly after. You would actually think Campbell Hatton is a decent prospect. He makes Campbell Hatton look like a good prospect, Tommy Fury. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, only exhibition I supported was Tyson Jones because it was a fight that almost happened for real. Plus, it was Tyson Jones. Yeah, yeah, it can work in certain circumstances. Mike Tyson is just yeah, by some people he is overrated, but very good heavyweight still. If the sport itself was giving fans for big fights, nobody would care about these exhibitions. Facts. What do you make of Thomas Patrick Ward? I don't think he's that greatly. I think he's a good domestic boxer, not a big puncher. He moves pretty well, that sort of guy. But I think Kolmatov will beat him. I don't think he wins that fight, Thomas Patrick Ward. I think he'll get stopped. Personally, Thomas Patrick Ward's been around a long while and he's done fuck all. I forgot the last time I saw. I've seen the guy fight, but I forget when it was. It was years ago. Like he was fighting for British titles several years ago. I think he beat Jazza Dickens, Thomas Patrick Ward. I may be wrong. I'm certain I saw him fight Jazza Dickens. Let me have a look. That's going to bug me. Thomas Patrick Ward. He's got a crazy record. He's like 34-0, or 33 wins and 1 draw, only 5 knockouts. Yeah, he fought Jazza Dickens back in 2017, and that was for the British title back in 2017, and he's done fuck all since then. He's done fuck all since then. It's crazy how this guy is even in like an eliminator. It's crazy. But I'm taking Otabek Kolmatov to beat him. I think he'll stop him as well. Kolmatov is decent. Good amateur as well. One of those Uzbekistanians, sorry. He's a good fighter. I think he'll beat Thomas. Alan Babic might lose his next fight, but he's got a new trainer. Who's he fighting? And who's his new trainer? To be fair, though, Jake Paul would always have viewers on his fights because of his millions of fans. I actually used to watch his videos a couple of years ago, laugh out loud. Yeah. Like Tommy, though, on the other hand, is because of his name. I never knew what... I never watched... I've never really watched, like, popular YouTubers like that. I've never watched them. Yeah, but yeah, I guarantee that, Chet. Yeah, I bet Canelo wishes he fought Makabu instead of Bivol, yeah. I think I wouldn't be shocked, though, Chet, if he tries to fight Badu Jack. Badu Jack at cruiserweight. I like Badu Jack, but Badu Jack is food at cruiserweight. And I think Canelo will see him as a easy win. It depends. It depends. Like I get the loyalty aspect, but sometimes you need to freshen things up. Sometimes you need to freshen things up. Fucking hell. Yeah, may as well get Fury versus Canelo at this point. Can Fury handle the head movement? I know, right? Yeah, I'm hoping we get Fury Usyk, man. I'm kind of the longer we wait, man. I'm convinced something goes wrong. Tyson ends up fighting like Andy Ruiz or someone like that. I think Taylor beats Lopez. Yeah, I just think Taylor's aggression and ruggedness and roughness. I think after a while you'll see Tio lose his shape and lose his composure and get emotionally involved. And I think that's when Taylor will take over. I actually think Tio will give Taylor a better fight than people are thinking. I think Tio's going to be dangerous early on, but I think Taylor takes over and maybe stops him late. That would have been a great fight. Carl Froch versus Nigel Benn. Nigel's a bigger puncher, but Carl Froch is more durable. And I would say Carl does he have better stamina? That's a hard one. I'd probably lean towards Carl Froch just based on durability. And also, like Lee said, Ben was better at 160. I'd say Froch. Apparently it's in negotiations, Vector, but no more than that. Yeah, I think Froch is half Polish. Yeah, I think Carl Froch is half Polish. It's like Mikkel Kessler. Mikkel Kessler's half English. I never realised that for a while. But yeah, I'd take Carl. I'll take Carl Froch over Ben, I think. Yeah, Ben's biggest win was at 68 against McClellan. But Gerald himself was moving up. It was basically two middleweights fighting at 68, really. Because McClellan wasn't really that big. He was slender, like narrow shoulders, narrow waist. Like McClellan wasn't a big 168 pounder. He was a real middleweight, McClellan. Honestly, I think Froch beats Eubank as well at 168. Carl would struggle with Steve Collins because Collins is very varied in his game, or was very varied. He could box, he could spoil, he was very sneaky, he could fight on the inside. Steve Collins could basically do everything to a decent level. He never excelled in any one area, but again, he's one of those guys who was just really well-rounded, and he would have come up with a game plan to, in my opinion, frustrate Carl Froch. Out of all of those 90s 168 pounders in the UK and Ireland, I think Steve Collins is probably his hardest fight for Carl Froch. Oh my god, that fight is fucking boxing porn. That fight is violent. If you asked me that a year ago, 18 months ago, I'd say Taylor. Right now, with Taylor at 140, let's say he stays at 140 after Tio. Ooh. I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been on the record for a long time saying that fucking Matias is dangerous. That kid is dangerous. I don't know. I'd have to really think about it. I'd have to really, really think about it. I'd have to see how Josh looks against Tio, to be honest, because based on Josh's last fight, if that Josh fights Matias, he loses. In my opinion, he loses. I'll see how he looks against Tio, see how he makes for weight, see how healthy he looks. I'm just saying here, though, Taylor has been damaging his body for years now, exactly cutting to 140. Been a while since he has made that weight. He is getting older, so his chin could be gone or getting worse, yeah. That's what I'm thinking as well. It's not so much that Taylor isn't good enough on a technical level or a toughness level. It's more so what's being taken out of his body. with these weight cuts. That's what I'm worried about. And the inactivity as well. Can we just say 140 is such a fucking good division? Like even I'm not anyone knows I'm not the biggest fan of Tio, but Tio versus Taylor gets me excited. It's a good fight. I love watching Matias fight. I love watching Prograis. Jose Ramirez, I like watching fight. Barboza. 140 is a great division, man. Even the lower down guys like Comey, who's now at 140, or Pedraza, I like these guys. I think Antoine Russell's a good prospect coming up. 140 is fucking great. Even after Undisputed. Sometimes after Undisputed, the division will go to shit. But 140 is still super stacked. .140 might be my favourite division in boxing. The amount of good fights you can make at 140, if we take all the bullshit away. And it's weird because 3 of my favourite fighters all campaign in that weight class. Taylor, Matias, and Prograis. Ramirez, late stoppage. Rubese Ramirez, late stoppage. 140. 140. 126 is great, though. Taylor beats Matias. He might do. I think it's a damn hard fight. I really do. I think he's decent, but that's it. I don't think George Kambosos was ever great. I think he was lightning in a bottle, to be honest. Yeah, Matias Prograis, great fight. I mean, Matias said he would take the fight. Yeah, that's a good point, Lee. Yeah, the Taylor that showed up against Catterall would have got stopped by Baranchik. He was dreadful. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Ramirez, another one. Yeah, God said Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, yeah. Facts, exactly, apology. Yep, 140, where people actually fight each other. Yeah, other fighters should take notes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's another good point, Chet, because Ryan Garcia is going to be at 140 sooner rather than later. He can make for some good fights, whether you like him or not. 140 is a great division, man. 140 to me, when I look at certain divisions are just more pure than others. And 140 is a pretty pure division. There's no big-time diva in the division or like big-time star. When Haney and Garcia move up, that will probably change, to be honest. But as of right now, 140 is a great division. Yeah, how could I forget about 115? 115 is a great division. $115 is good. But even 122 is not bad. Super bantamweight. I think, Fulton, Neri, Inoue now, Casemiro, Akhmadaliev. Who else is there? There's a few fighters there. That's a decent division. But yeah, 126 is sick as well. So you got Figueroa, Lara, Ray Vargas is still knocking about. I think Ray Vargas is still champion at 126. Mark Magseo, Luis Alberto Lopez or Bernardo Lopez. You got Rubese Ramirez, Josh Warrington. Yeah, it's a good division. It's a good division. Oh, Tyson knockout. Tyson early knockout as well. I'd love to see that, Lee. See, I was saying that immediately after Undisputed, that he should just go to 147, have a couple of fights to get used to the weight, and then take a big fight. But he fought Catterall, and we know what happened. And I feel like Taylor probably thinks he's got unfinished business now at 140. I think he probably wants a big win before he bows out of that weight class. 160 is bad. Yeah, 160 is pretty turgid. 168 isn't much better, to be honest. Although you got Benavidez Plant, which is a good fight. But aside from that, I don't really care for that division. 147 should be better than it is, but it's kind of whack. It's disappointing more than it's bad. $118 now is going to... what is it? Is it 118? A bantamweight now is going to be pretty whack without a Inoue. What's at bantamweight now? Donaire, Emanuela Rodriguez, Jason Maloney, Showa Shida, Rick Diao still there. Yeah, bantamweight's not great. Bantamweight's not great, 122. Funny thing is, we could potentially see another undisputed champion at 140, making that 2 in 3 years before we see 175 or the heavyweight. Yeah, I agree. Crazy. Oh, big up to the Londoner in the sticks. Long time no see, bro. Hopefully you're well. No, just shooting the shit, really. Talking boxing, man. Shooting the shit. Yeah, there are certain guys I think Wilder would have a decent chance against, but against a guy like Tyson who would quickly close that distance, get underneath Wilder's punches, I think Tyson's a terrible matchup for Deontay Wilder. He would have to just land a Hail Mary punch. Yeah, Salvador Sanchez, in terms of skills and talent, arguably maybe the best Mexican boxer of all time. And it is crazy that Salvador Sanchez died at 23 years old. Imagine the career he would have had. Just imagine. 23 years old. He died in a motorcycle crash, I believe, right? Like, he beat Danny Lopez, I believe, Juan Laporte, Wilfredo Gomez, and Azuma Nelson, like, at 23 years of age. Imagine he had a full career. You'd be talking like the undisputed greatest Mexican boxer of all time. But yeah, even at 23 years old, had a great career, bro. That's a great point, because if a modern day fighter retired with Sanchez's record, we'd be saying, what a great career. Well, this guy did it before, 23 years of age. Goes to show how slow these guys these days are managed and how slow they're moved. Madness. But yeah, big up to Salvador Sanchez. OG. Figueroa on points, I think, is the safe bet, Ralph. Figueroa on points, I would say. But yeah. I agree. I don't like the Mexican Monster nickname, and I agree it sounds corny as hell. Yeah, La Bandera Roja was much better. The red flag, yeah, much better. Sounds good. It could, that could happen, because John Jones, they'll want to get some paydays out of John Jones. In the back of their mind as well, they'll still be hoping that they can make a John Jones Ngannou fight, because Ngannou is still a free agent. If John Jones wins and then they offer Ngannou a boatload of money, maybe that fight happens. Yeah, his old nickname was much better. La Bandera Roja, yeah, much better. Facts, yeah. Inoue the monster is perfect for Inoue. Perfect. Perfect nickname. Yeah, I'm a big Benavidez fan as well. The channel knows I like Benavidez. I like his style. Again, when it comes to the fighters I like, I'm pretty consistent. Like, all of the guys I deem as must watch, or my favorite fighters, are all aggressive. Beterbiev, Matias, Prograis, Taylor, Inoue, all aggressive. Loma's not as aggressive, but he's still aggressive. The only exception really is Usyk. He's really the only exception, but at cruiserweight, he'd put a hurting on people. He's the only exception. I just find Usyk's style fascinating for some reason. But even guys I respect, like Dimitri Bivol, I wouldn't call Dimitri Bivol one of my favorite fighters. Like, I wouldn't say, oh, I have to stay in for this Bivol fight. I have to check it out right away. I like him, but his style is a little too beta for me personally. I much prefer aggressive guys. I like fighters who are nasty, who have that mean streak. That's what I like personally. But Usyk is really the only exception, I would say. That's not to say I don't like some boxers. Like I said, I do like Bivol. I appreciate what he does. Watching it in real time, his style is kind of mesmerizing. But he's not somebody who gets my blood pumping. He's not somebody who I watch his fights back. I never watched a Bivol fight back. Never. Whereas Beterbiev or Matias or Prograis, Taylor, I can watch their fights back and be entertained. At a domestic level, man, Nick Ball is fucking killing it, bro. He's, again, very aggressive, good punch as well. You're forgetting Dave Allen, yeah, facts. To be fair, though, John Jones is actually genuine. There is one difference. John Jones is genuinely, or was, a world-class MMA fighter who actually fought elite competition. Like, he fought killers, John Jones, in his prime. Gustafsson, DC, twice. Shogun Rua, Rampage Jackson, Rashad Evans. I think he fought Machida as well. Like, John Jones fought killers. Whereas Tank hasn't. But I agree in terms of like how they are outside the ring. I love Bivol, but I see him getting stopped in a fight much to the same manner as Vodzik. Yeah, Vodzik came back the other day. He had like a fucking 8-rounder against a journeyman. He's trying to make a comeback. That doesn't surprise me though. He spent last year in training camps with Canelo and Ramirez. So the fact that he got in both of those camps, it must mean he has something. But we'll see. We'll see what he does. I agree, Intangible. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. I need to check the odds. I need to check the odds for that fight because the bookies may have fucked it up. That's one of the type of fights they may fuck up. He's unknown coming to the UK. Sometimes those are the sort of fights where they misprice them. Let's have a look. It's not even on fucking... Yeah, it's not on Paddy Power. That's shit. It's not even on Paddy Power. That's crazy. Yeah, Nicholas Walters returned. He won on points. He won on points. I think he fought at 140 as well. He must be like 37, 38 now, Nicholas Walters. old's Nicholas Walters? 37 years old. And he came back against a guy who was 19 and 16 and he won an 8-round unanimous decision at 140. Do you guys remember when Nicholas Walters had all that hype? And when he lost, like, his fans just completely abandoned him. And I actually think Walters' hype was somewhat warranted. He was knocking guys out. He was knocking guys out. Walters was a good fighter. He was a good fighter. Yeah, against a bum, yeah. Yeah, he got very lucky in that fight as well, Intangible. I think that was, if my memory serves me correct, that was stopped by a cut, right? And it was a technical decision, whatever. I felt he was losing that fight, if memory serves me correct. I felt Asomba was winning. Yeah, but the Nair KO was his best win. Yeah, he could really crack Walters. And I think if Walters stuck around, he would have had a good career. He would have had a good career. Because what he did well. He had a really good jab, good boxer puncher type of style. He was a good fighter, Walters, but yeah, that Lomachenko loss obviously broke his heart, kind of thing. And Lomachenko never really got going in that fight. He wasn't really putting a beating on Walters. But yeah, a lot of people back then were picking Walters to win. A lot of people. Like, people forget that. A lot of people were picking Walters to win. Can't believe that fight is, 7 years ago now. 7 years ago in November. Fucking hell. Where does time go? Jesus Christ. He was, but like when did he quit? Like the 7th round? I mean, it was 2 rounds. It wasn't like it was a fucking prolonged beating, man. It's like, fucking hell. Like, he really quit like that? That was bad, though. It was. I can understand why his fans dropped him, to be honest. I can understand. He should have stuck with it a few more rounds. Again, listen, to me, there's quitting and there's quitting, right? So, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, let's say, for example, if you genuinely have like a fractured orbital bone, you're seeing double, you can't see shit. If that has happened to you and you quit, to me, that's not a quick quit. But if you're Nicholas Walters and you quit on the stool like you did when you could carry on, that's a quit. That's egregious. That's a quick quit. Not all quits are the same, in my opinion. Not all quits are the same. I think some quits are fair enough. Not all quits are the same. Yeah, that's a great signing for Matchroom, Peter McGrail. Yeah, he's good. He's solid. It's a good signing. Don't Matchroom now have Pat McCormack as well? Yeah, they've made a couple of good young signings recently. Yeah, that was on Box Nation, yeah. Box Nation was fucking sick back then, man. It's crazy good. Like, Box Nation had all of the international cards, top rank cards, Golden Boy cards, Sauerland cards, Ryabinski cards. Box Nation was great for a small period of time. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Mike. Yeah, Dubois quitting, yeah. There's that as well. There is that as well, chat. Yeah, Loma's body punching was so speedy and almost like being attacked by a swarm of bees. He's landing 3 or 4 liver shots in one sequence. Yeah, that is true. That is true, yeah. Loma back then was fucking mesmerizing. At 126 and 130. Yeah, I think he could have stuck that out a few more rounds. Lee, I really do. Yeah, I think he could have stuck that out a few more rounds. Especially since we've seen it from Zach Parker before as well. I mean, he dislocated his shoulder against Daryl Williams, and he fought that fight basically the whole fight with one arm. I know Daryl Williams isn't fucking John Ryder, but still. Yeah, Paddy Pimblett is terrible. If you're referring to Paddy Pimblett, he's fucking awful. Complete hype, Paddy Pimblett. Complete hype. Stupid haircut. That's all he really brings to the table. Fucking clown that guy, honestly. Just feed him to some fucking Brazilian or some unknown Russian and be done with it. I just want to see this guy stretched out. I don't want to see him get choked out or fucking lose on points. I want to see this guy get stretched out. Head kick, knockout, fucking Mirko Krokop style. Left head kick, bang. I want to see that hair fly. Slow-mo replays. Yeah, he's got that. He's rocking that Jimmy Savile trim. Facts. They're not going to, Vector, because they fit. Listen, they'll try and milk Paddy for as long as they can. They'll try and milk him. They're not going to put him in a risky fight anytime soon. I wouldn't have thought so anyway. I don't think they're going to make that sort of fight for him. But you never know. UFC do push their guys more than boxing promoters do. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, I don't think Paddy Pimblett won his last fight. I thought he lost. Don't like Conor McGregor. I think that guy is a nasty piece of work. Don't like him at all. Think he's a prick. Bully boy, Conor McGregor. Don't like him at all. Complete fucking degenerate. And I hope Michael Chandler smashes him to pieces, personally. But funnily enough, though, like if Conor McGregor's basically done. But if he can beat anybody, if he's got a chance of beating anybody, it would be Chandler. Because just because Chandler takes so many risks, man, he doesn't fight with his head. And he could walk onto a big shot. Is Paddy fighting Drew Dober? That can't be true. We'll see. I doubt he fights Drew Dober. They may be fed up. Yeah, they may be. You never know. I think it's just literally because he's got a funky haircut. He talks shit, and the UFC want to try and capitalize on the British market because they've never really cracked the UK like that. Don't get me wrong; they've had shows out here and they always sell out well, but it's not like an MMA. It's not like an MMA hotbed here. I think that's really all it is. They're trying to grow their UK audience. And, you know, Paddy Pimblett's the type of guy who appeals to the lowest common denominator, really. You know what I mean? That's why they're rocking with him. Like, even that, what's his name? The guy who got injured, the heavyweight, Tom Aspinall. Like, yeah, he lost his last fight because of injury, but I think he's far more talented than a guy like Paddy Pimblett. And obviously, we have a fucking UFC champion. Leon Edwards, but nobody knows who Leon Edwards is in the UK. Nobody. Leon Edwards could walk down the street and barely anybody would recognize him. Same with Michael Bisping. Yeah, McGregor's finished, but if he beats Chandler or anybody credible, Yeah, the hype train's going to be back. Exactly, yeah. If he beats Chandler, he'll get a title shot. I wouldn't say Conor makes easy work of him, but he could land. He could land. Yeah, I think Drew Dober beats him as well. Conor epitomizes the negative Irish stereotypes. I think it's a step beyond that, though. I just think he's a nasty fucking person. I think that guy, there's a lot of rumours about him, what he's supposedly done, and some that is verifiable, like punching old men at fucking pubs, things of that nature, but stuff a lot worse than that. It really wouldn't surprise me if that sort of stuff was true about him. The Conor McGregor story is going to end up bad. It will end up bad. Something crazy is going to happen with Conor McGregor. And his drink is shit as well. I don't like whiskey anyway, but yeah, Khabib mauling him was so fucking good. Joe Parker, J-Dav. I got Joe Parker. I think Joe Parker beats Dubois. I got no faith in Dubois at all after that Kevin Lorena fight. Dreadful. I think he could knock out Dubois, in all seriousness. Fucking eggshell chin, paper mache chin. On the powder every day, never ends well. Yeah, that guy's a blatant cokehead as well, you're right. See how fucking jacked he looks now as well? That guy's been juicing in his spare time since he's been injured. He's been juicing. Conor Benn's another one. I made a reference to it in my last video about Conor Benn. He's another guy who, again, that guy just exudes dark energy. I don't know what it is about that guy, but Steve Robinson could beat Dubois. Let's not go that far, but Dubois is not good. Dubois has a bit of talent. Like, he's got a good jab. He's got good power. Maintains pretty good balance at times, but his chin is just not there. His head is on center line all the time. Doesn't know what a feint is. His patterns of attack are quite predictable. When he's got a guy hurt, he goes through the gears quite well. He can throw combinations, but he's just not that great. He's all right, but the chin's going to let him down. If he had a good chin with his style, with his current, like, let's say he had a really good chin, like a Joe Joyce chin, with his current skill set, he'd be a good fighter. He'd be a very good heavyweight, but that chin's going to let him down. Maybe. Warren blatantly favouring Dubois over Joyce. Yeah, doing the Juggernaut dirty. Well, the Juggernaut's on top now, man. Queensbury's number one. Well, Tyson Fury is, but he's the best of the rest. Joe Joyce. Basically, yeah. Basically, Price 2.0. In fact, get David Price out of retirement. Wheel him out. Let's have David Price versus Daniel Dubois. Give David Price a 12-week camp. Let's have it. Let's have Dubois Price. Why not? I'd watch it. Who wins, Dave Allen or Fabio Wardley? Christ. Dave Allen will do his best fucking heavy bag impression. Plod forward, eating jabs. Get peppered for a few rounds and he'll get pulled out. That's what will happen. I'd rather see David Adelaide versus Fabio Wardley. Or Adelaide, however you say his name. I'd rather see that fight. But yeah, Dave Allen is... He fought the other day, Dave Allen. He fought in Malta against a guy who was like 2-8 and he won first round knockout. The Dave Allen comeback trail is on. Prime Price Sparks Dubois. That'll be a shootout, whatever happens. Somebody's going to sleep. Can you imagine that fight goes all 12? That'd be hilarious. Yeah, Dubois, yeah, with that Reggie title, yeah, with a WBA Reggie title is, yeah, an accident waiting to happen. I agree. They've got to match that guy so carefully. So carefully. Anybody who's going to fight him now, surely after seeing that Lorena fight, is just going to come out swinging for his chin. Try and tag him early. But yeah, they're going to have to match him real careful. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it's as bad as like fucking Lucas Brown for his next opponent. Speaking of Lucas Brown, March the 18th, Lucas Brown versus Jarrell Miller in Dubai. How about that? That's a fight to look forward to. That's a fight to look forward to, if you ask me. Jarrell Miller versus Lucas Brown. What a fight. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Tremendous. I'm actually looking forward to that, I can't lie. The winner versus Dubois, let's have it. Yeah, no, yes. Miller versus Brown, winner fights Gigachar. Facts. Yeah, that'll be a good fight, J-Dav. That'll be a good fight. Frank Sanchez would dismantle Dubois, I agree. I agree. Yeah, Makhmedov, Hrgovic, Anderson, Yoka all need to fight each other. Yeah. They do, yeah, I agree. But Hrgovic is in line for an IBF interim title fight, I believe. They ordered Hrgovic versus Ruiz, and Ruiz didn't want it. So we'll see what happens with him. March 18th is getting marked on the calendar for sure. What a car crash that's going to be. That's why I like it, bro. It's one of those fights that makes no sense, but it makes a lot of sense. Like, you watch it, if you're in, you're going to watch it. It's in Dubai as well, so it should be at a good time. Honestly, with Top Rank, eventually Top Rank will throw you in there with somebody. They'll give him a few more fights, but he'll be tested at some point. He'll be tested at some point. If he stays with Top Rank, that is. And I don't think they'll let him go. So you'll see him tested soon. Steve Robinson, Christ. He fought on a Sky card. I forget who he fought. He fought some Scottish guy, Nick Campbell. And Christ, that was bad. It was fun. It was fun, but like, it was so bad in terms of like technique and skill. Awful. It was so bad it was good, though. It was so bad it was good. But yeah, he's bad, Steve Robinson. He's bad. Brandon Glanton, he's on that card as well on the 18th in Dubai. It's funny because Brandon Glanton, he lost to David Light, who is now Okole's opponent. I felt Glanton got fucking robbed in that fight. Glanton would have been a much better opponent as well for Okole, but it is what it is. Lucas Brown is about to turn 44. Could end tragically for him. Bro, I remember back in the day when Lucas Brown was fighting for like said James Toney when he was coming up. It's crazy, man. Is that fight announced though, Lee? They can't make that fight after he quit in an exhibition, surely. Because Lovejoy, I never realized he was fighting, but he fought on that Mayweather exhibition card, and he quit against some random guy. That guy, man, I respect his hustle, though. I respect his hustle. Fucking hell, what a fucking bum. Yeah, Lucas Brown took a dive against Paul Gallen, yeah, facts. And after that, he knocks out Junior Farr. And yeah, looks good, randomly. Yeah, crazy, bro. Chris Lovejoy's just looking to get paydays, man. Fair play to him. He knows he can't fight. He's got a good record, though, and it will fool casual fans. So you could see why a promoter would make that fight for a young heavyweight. But yeah, Johnny Fisher takes that guy out in a round or two. Great question. Favorite heavyweight fight of all time? You're near the mark with Bo Holyfield 1, Nabzila. As an honourable mention, just because it never gets mentioned, I will say Ike Ibushi versus David Tua. That fight for a long while held the CompuBox record for a heavyweight fight. That was a tremendous fight. How nobody went down in that fight is beyond me. But that's an honourable mention. But yeah, Bo versus Holyfield, 1. Well, yeah, it's a great fight. By the way, Bo Holyfield, that trilogy to me is better than the Ali Fraser trilogy. Maybe that's a controversial opinion, but I think the Bo Holyfield trilogy is better. Favorite heavyweight fight I've seen live, like I've been alive for and actually watched. Honestly, it might be Wilder Fury, the third fight. Believe it or not, it might be the third Wilder Fury fight. Yeah, Chris Lovejoy was ranked. He was ranked by the WBA. Surprise, surprise. I mean, the WBA have ranked dead people before, by the way. They've ranked fucking dead people. They ranked... Do you guys remember a guy, a Yemeni fighter called Ali Raimi? He was like knocking out random bums in like Yemen or you know, in the Middle East. And he was highly ranked. I think he was a flyweight. And he was talking about fighting Roman Gonzalez. Anybody remember that guy? Ali Raimi. And there was some footage of him on YouTube, and he was absolutely dreadful. But God rest his soul, he died. He got killed I think he got killed in an airstrike. Something like that. But yeah. And they ranked that guy after he died. Ali Raimi. Only like hardcore boxing forum users would remember Ali Raimi. Foreman Lyle, yeah, that's a great shout. That's a fight that goes under the radar, yeah, in terms of heavyweights. That's a good shout. That's a good shout. One of my favorite fights to look back on personally. I wasn't watching boxing like that then, but Corrales Castillo 1. I love going back and watching that fight now and again. That fight had everything, man. The knockdowns, the back and forth, point deductions. Joe Goosen stepping up over the ropes. You gotta get it. You gotta get inside of them now. Whatever he said. Yeah, you gotta fucking get inside of them. Yeah, that's a great fight, man. That's a great fight. Ortiz Wilder 1 was a good fight, to be fair. It was a good fight. That was a good fight, yeah. AJ Klitschko obviously was a great fight. There's been some good heavyweight fights in recent years. On a lower level, Izuagono versus Dominic Brazil was a good fight. If you guys remember that fight, Povetkin, Marco Huck a few years ago was good. There's been some good heavyweight fights in recent years. Problem with the heavyweights, though, not enough contenders are fighting each other. It just feels like they're trying to hold on to a ranking and maybe get called a Mando. But to me, it doesn't feel like these heavyweight contenders are fighting each other enough. Joe Joyce, credit to Joe Joyce, he's fought Joe Parker, he's fought Bryant Jennings, he's fought Dubois, he's about to fight Zhilei Zhang. Joe Joyce is doing well. He's doing what he needs to do. But many of these heavyweight contenders are not fighting their fellow contenders. They're just waiting around. Was that the one where Harrison was losing and he fucking knocks him out late? Or did Sprott knock out Harrison? I forget. Somebody got knocked out late in that fight. Let me have a look at that. I forget how that fight went. I know somebody got knocked out late and they was losing. I'm sure it was Sprott who got knocked out. I'm thinking of the second fight. I'm thinking of the second fight when Audley knocked out Sprott. Yeah, because Sprott won the first one and Harrison won the second. Yeah, give me the one I mixed. Yep. Aaron Pryor versus Alexis Arguello. Yep. It's a great fight, though. An amazing fight. Audley Harrison getting knocked out was always fun to watch, though, man. It was always fun. Those heavyweights back in the day, though, in the UK were pretty barren. We had a good domestic scene, but nobody was world-class back then. We had, like, Audley Harrison, Michael Sprott, Danny Williams, Matt Skelton, John McDermott, those sort of guys. And after that, Chisora came along, Tyson Fury came along, David Haye obviously moved up, David Price was coming along. But yeah, Matt Skelton out of those old school, like mid-2000s heavyweights in the UK, Matt Skelton was my favourite because he was from my local area. And I went to his gym as well for a while. And yeah, Matt Skelton was a sound guy as well, nice guy. Matt Skelton was a nice guy. His boxing gym was on the Eastcott's estate in Bedford. But I think it's still a gym there, but he's not involved anymore. I think it's like a Muay Thai gym now, the last I checked. Or something like that, or some like MMA gym. I believe. It may have changed again since then. Now, Andrew Tate's kickboxing record is a bit fugazi. Listen, he can fight to a certain degree, but like he was never like a world-class kickboxer. He never fought in any world-class organizations. He fought in like 5th or 6th tier organizations. Like he never fought the big names. I mean, look at Andrew Tate's resume. Look, most of the people, you can't even click on their names. They don't even have like Wikipedia pages. Yeah, the guy can fight to a certain level, but like in comparison to what was Andrew Tate, like cruiserweight / heavyweight at kickboxing? I mean, you're talking about guys like Badr Hari, Alistair Overeem. They're world-class kickboxers. Or Rico Verhoeven, the Dutch guy. They're world-class kickboxers. Like, Andrew Tate wouldn't last around with those guys. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, But he can fight to a certain degree, but like not to the point he makes out. When he says he was a world champion, he is he's not technically lying because he was a world champion under like low key organizations, but it is stretching the truth when he said he was one of the best in the world. He wasn't. He wasn't. Yeah, Matt Skelton. Matt Skelton started as a kickboxer. Yeah, he started as a kickboxer. He actually fought a few MMA fights. I think he once fought in Pride. Like Matt Skelton was fighting in Japan and shit and all over Asia, like kickboxing and doing some MMA. Yeah, Marku was a good kickboxer. Yeah, yeah. Julius Francis was another one back then. Yeah. Was Caleb Plant a kickboxer? Do you know what? I never knew that. I never knew that. Never knew he was a kickboxer. Oh, I just see. Checked his Wikipedia. Yeah, he had amateur kickboxing fights. Fair enough, man. Oh, really? Stephen Thompson beat Briadis in a kickboxing match. Damn, that's impressive. Yeah, that's where like the whole Andrew Tate thing kind of winds me up. Like, yeah, again, he can fight compared to the average man on the street. Yeah, he would whoop people's asses, and he'd whoop some pros, but like he was never in any major organization. He was never fighting the best in the world. See, again, like Alex Pereira was a world class kickboxer, or Pereira, sorry, whatever, however you say his name. He was a world class kickboxer. He was a 2-weight world champion in glory, one of the best in the world, pound for pound, for a few years. Pereira. I'll tell you who did fight Daniel Cormier. Dillian White never fought Daniel Cormier. I'll tell you who did fight Daniel Cormier. Lucas Brown in MMA. Lucas Brown fought Daniel Cormier. I'm certain he did. Or have I made that up in my fucking imagination? On Daniel Cormier's record. I'm certain he fought Lucas fucking Brown. Yeah, he did. He knocked out Lucas Brown on the 31st of July 2010 in the first round. There you go. Daniel Cormier holds a win over Lucas Brown. It's weird, yeah. Boxing used to be a hotbed in Italy. Boxing used to be a hotbed, even as even as late as the 90s. Like boxing, Italy always had good boxers. They was kind of like, but like Germany, they just kind of fell by the wayside. They fell by the wayside. They've got nobody now. Like Guido Vianella is terrible. There was that super middleweight as well. They tried to hype up Daniele Scardavinia or something like that. He was poor. But yeah, there's been a few kickboxers who turned boxers. I'm not sure what was Vitali's level. I know he got knocked out by Pele Reed. Vitali, he got knocked out by Pele Reed in kickboxing, like clean, cold, knocked out, head kick. I can't find anything on his wiki. I'll have to look into that. He did, yeah. He clearly beat Fury. Yeah, De Carolis was decent. I think he won a. I think De Carolis won a WBA regular maybe when he beat Feigenboots. Pick up to yourself, Jim Jones. Matias versus Prograis has got to be one of the best fights in boxing. I agree, but nobody's going to push for it. Unfortunately, neither guy's a big name. It's a shame. I'd love to see it, bro. Love to see it. I could see it happening. I could see Canelo looking for it. For Big Smoke, Big Dog Smoke. I could see Canelo trying to get that fight. But yeah, guys, maybe not next stream, but in the near future, I do plan on doing like interactive streams. So basically having a panel. Obviously, I want it to be raw, but people just need to use common sense. You know, there's certain things we just can't say, but we can push the line. We can move the envelope. That'll be coming in the foreseeable future, in the near future. So yeah, so did I, Lee. In retrospect, like I felt he was starting to flag. He obviously got dropped and he was hurt. I think for his corner, when you're fighting a guy like Matias who has killed somebody, that must be in the back of your mind. You see the fight turning. You see your man starting to sustain punishment, and he never once hurt Matias. You see him starting to get punished. You see him get dropped. You see how Matias's fights go. I think that whole aspect of Matias killing somebody, I think it also has an interesting psychological effect on his opponents and their corner. That must weigh on their mind when they're seeing their man go for a hard fight with him. That must weigh on their mind. I think that's in the back of their mind when they made that. That was in the back of their mind when they made that decision. Yeah, I'd love that fight, man. Matias versus anybody at 140, anybody decent at 140 would be great. Honestly, I'd love to see Jack Catterall try to do that holding shit against Matias. Love to see it. He would actually find the target against Matias, but I don't think he could hurt him. I've been going from Matias to Matias. Whatever his name is, he's fucking great. Love what he brings to the table. Be interesting, actually. You know, Jack Catterall is kind of trying to paint himself to be this avoided guy. He's trying to paint himself to be this avoided guy. Let's see him call out Subriel. We'll see. We'll see. Jack Catterall would find a way to ruin the fight. He'd probably like headbutt or something and get it like ruled as a technical draw. But yeah, he'll be into a world of hurt. Yeah, well, I was asked this earlier. If it's for Taylor from the Catterall fight, Matias beats him, stops him. If it's for Taylor from a few years ago, like the Prograis fight, for example, then it's a hell of a fight. I'd make Taylor a favorite. But I don't know, man. Like, Matias is just one of those guys, man. You're going to get a gut check. You're going to get a gut check. And Taylor doesn't have the legs to keep Matias at arm's length for 12 rounds. He doesn't have that sort of style. He can do it, but he can't do it against Subriel for 12 rounds. He's going to engage in a fight. Let's say Tim Tszyu destroys Tony Harrison. Would you give him a better chance versus Charlo? I think so, yeah. I think naturally, you know, we all suffer to a certain degree, I guess, from recency bias. If he puts in a great performance and he knocks out Tony Harrison and he does it well, then yeah, I think people would be more confident, including myself maybe. But I'd still be picking Charlo. I'd still be picking Jamel Charlo to win that fight. Unless I see something crazy from Tim Tszyu, I'm still picking Charlo. You're right, Lee. You're right, because when Catterall was holding his feet and firing that left hand, against Taylor. He was buzzing Taylor, not just the time he dropped him. He was getting Taylor's respect. I think it's just one of those things, Big Dog Smoke. I think it's just one of those things with Canelo. I've been consistent. I said the same with Floyd. I said the same with Floyd. I'm not denying that Canelo is a talented fighter. But again, you have to look at his resume. You know, what's written on paper isn't always the be-all and end-all. Like, anybody can read a bit of paper, but, you know, if you examine these fights and you look at some of the discrepancies, there are a lot on Canelo's resume. There are a lot. And, like, let's say, for example, if Canelo was, let's say he was exactly the same as he is, exact same skill, exact same everything, but he's a B-side fighter. How many more losses does he have on his resume? How many more losses does he have on his resume? Lara, Golovkin twice. Who knows about the early fights? I mean, even Trout was close. I agree. Will Taylor really have to use his legs and stay away, though? He was right at home on the inside against Prograis. Bro, I can't explain it. Because Prograis looks a more snappy puncher than Matias. But Subriel, when he hits you, man, every single shot takes something out of you. Just takes something out of you. And he keeps on throwing as well. And if he gets too involved, yes, he could be winning the exchanges, but all of a sudden, that energy bar could drain. I think that guy's, honestly, I know it sounds like I'm hyping him up, but I've been talking about him for a long while. It's not a recent thing. I made a video 2 years ago calling Matias like the most dangerous man in boxing, or the most violent man in boxing. I think that guy's style is fascinating. I really do. He can, yeah. Taylor can punch. He can punch, yeah. When he sets his feet, he's got a mean uppercut, mean right hook. Is Taylor, by the way, actually right-handed or left-handed? Do you know? I know he's a southpaw, but is he actually right-handed or left-handed? Does anybody know? Yeah, boxing and banter is always a good mix. Yeah, I want people who you know don't take themselves too seriously. We can have a laugh. We can agree to disagree. I can't fucking talk. I'm not after I'm not after like debate panels. To be honest, I'm not after shouting matches because most of the channels out there, no disrespect, who do like these debate things, most of the time they end up as shouting matches, and it's not really a debate. He's a converted southpaw. I thought so. Yeah, I thought so. Given how the knockdowns usually occur with his lead hand. Okay, no, he is left-handed. Okay. Football question: what league should I be watching right now? I've just recently started getting back into watching it on TV. Not sure what league to support. Serie A is quite dull. I'll be honest. Serie A is quite dull right now. I'm not. In terms of pure entertainment, the Premier League. The Premier League is where it's at. I'll be honest. I'll say the Premier League. And then pay attention to the Champions League as well, which is like the European competition. Panorama Conference League. Not sure. Not sure. I think Haney's a worse style for Ryan than Tank is, believe it or not. Tank's more dangerous than Haney to Ryan because of power. And if Ryan makes a mistake, yeah, Tank can switch his lights off. But purely in terms of styles, I think Haney's a harder stylistic matchup for Ryan than Tank is. I think Devin Haney schools Tank Davis. Unless he does something stupid and Tank lands one shot, I think he schools Tank. 10 rounds to 2, 9 rounds to 3, that sort of thing. I think he schools him. I'm not Devin Haney's biggest fan, but I think he's better than Tank. I think he's a much better boxer. If everything is on the level, I make Ryan a favourite. I mean, Ryan does make silly mistakes. He always has, and Tank could capitalize and hurt him and knock him out, even in a real fight. But I've got a feeling Ryan's going to do him. I really do. I've got a feeling Ryan's going to do him. I'm not making this my official prediction, but as of right now, that's what I'm thinking. Nearer the time, I'll make like an official prediction video. Who is somebody to look out for that nobody's talking about? Oh, damn. Somebody to look out for that nobody's watching. It's hard to say. Do you know what? I've not really been paying attention to the prospects like I usually do, you know. I can't lie. I think David Morrell is an interesting proposition, but people are talking about him. Not many, but people are talking about him. If you asked me that 12 months ago or so, I would have said Albert Batsugaziev, but he's not looked good in his recent 2 fights. He went from 126 to 135 for some reason, and he's not looked as good since. He won the Olympic gold in Tokyo, Albert Batsugaziev. If he goes back down to 126, I'd say him. Zepeda's a good shout. William Zepeda's a good shout. Junto Nakatani, yeah. Junto is a good shout. I think James DeGale made the bag and he's enjoying retirement. To be fair to him, I think he's just out of the game. Fair play to him. But yeah, Zepeda's a good shout. William Zepeda, looking at him, he always reminds me of like Robert Lewandowski a little bit. Don't know about you, if it's just me. He always reminds me of Robert Lewandowski. He looks a little like him. Just a little bit. Okay, let's get a picture of Zepeda. I'm sure you guys know who Lewandowski is, right? Okay, edit. Shit picture, but doesn't he? He looks like Lewandowski. He looks like Lewandowski a little bit. See what I mean? Ask Albanian boxer. I think it's if Albanian Boxer's still in the chat, ask Albanian Boxer will know. I've never been, bro. I've never been. I know a couple of people from Albania, but I've never been. It seems pretty good, though. It seems pretty good from what I've heard, but seems like a wild place. Yeah, Gary Cully's good. I like Gary Cully. He's decent. He makes some mistakes, though, that I don't like. I don't like the consistent bouncing that he does. A world-class fighter can time that, because sometimes when you consistently bounce, it can give a tell to when you're throwing your punches. So usually when he stops bouncing, he'll throw. I know that's really finicky and picky, but a world-class fighter could spot that. Also, with his, he's a long-rangey guy, but with his straight punches, he's got the tendency to fall in. All that needs is a slip and an uppercut, and he could be in trouble. He's knocking guys out. He's taking care of business, but there's a couple of mistakes in his game. I can see a better fighter exploiting. And you know, sometimes you look at fighters for whatever reason, and you just know they haven't got a good chin. I've got that sense with Gary Cully. Albania's nice, just don't mention Serbia. Yeah, Joe Ward was he was a really good amateur, but early in his pro career, he ruptured his I think he ruptured his cruciate ligaments, and he lost that fight because of that. He just ruptured his knee. He's come back since and got a few wins, but I don't think he'll do much, to be honest. I've not really been checking him, to be honest, Jay's Boxing Universe, but when you work for a company like DAZN, it's going to be hard to be objective, right? Stevenson's the one who draws most interest from me. Wasn't they was trying to set up a fight between him and Ali, Teofilo Stevenson. I think they offered him $1 million at the time to come straight out of the amateurs to fight Ali, and he turned it down. You know, basically saying the love for his people outweighs the money. I'm not going to do it. But it would have been interesting to see him turn pro. There was a lot of Cubans back then, and like Soviet bloc fighters who couldn't turn pro. It would be interesting to see how the heavyweight landscape, or just the boxing landscape in general, would have changed if these guys could have fought pro. Look at the medal winners back then in the 70s, 60s, 70s. There's a lot of like Soviet fighters, Cuban fighters who couldn't go pro. Realistically, what's next for the winner of Tank and Ryan? More D-level gym fighters or actual legit opponents at 135 or 140? For some reason, if Ryan wins, I think he'd be more willing to take a big fight, like maybe against like a Teofimo or something. I don't really know though. I don't really know, honestly. Yeah, Rabasi lost his first fight. Yeah, he's done well since. He's come back well. He's looked pretty good in his last couple of fights, Ramirez. He's fighting Isaac Dogbe next. Yeah, I need to research the Kosovo War. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, Conor Ben's team are in talks with Pacquiao to come out of retirement and fight in Dubai. That's a big fight on DAZN, but kind of shameless. First a retired and shot Khan, and then a weight-drained junior, and now, yeah, exactly. It is shameless. Conor the Gravedigger Ben. He's got a puncher's chance, I would say, especially with Josh boiling himself down again. to 140. I think he's got a puncher's chance, but I wouldn't. I'd make him underdog. He's got a chance though. I think he's got a bit of a chance. But anyway, guys, we've been going for nearly 3 hours. We've done quite well tonight. I'm gonna wrap this one up. I'll try and get some videos done this week. I've got something I need to sort for the other channel. Finish that video. If I get that done quick, I'll try and get another couple of videos done this week out. We shall see, though. We shall see. Anyway, guys, have a good evening, and have a great week as well. Peace.